we want to find the slope given two pair of coordinates. Now, the first thing you have to think about is you ask yourself, what's the formula for finding the slope given two pair of coordinates? Now, we know that the slope formula, all right, the slope is your rise over the run, all right? That means that your slope is your change in y over the change in x. So basically, if you want to put this in an equation form, we always refer to the slope as the m, right? So the slope as our m is the change in y, all right? That's the absolute change in y over the absolute change in x, right? Which is the same as the rise over the run. So we do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now this symbol is called delta, all right? Delta means change in y. Is that okay? So therefore, the next question is, what is your y1 and what is your y2? Now these are pair x and y coordinates, right? So this is your x, this is your y, this is your x, and this is your y. Is that okay? Now, because this is the first x value, we call this the x1. This is the first y value, we call this the y1. And this is your second x value, we call this x2. And this is your second y value, we call this y2. Is that okay? So x1 is -8 and y1 is 8. So let's put these into the equation. So y2 is -7. What is your y1? Y1 is 8. So subtract that. X2 is -9. Is that okay? And then what is your x1? X1 is -8. So negative, because that is a negative, right? Now, -7, -8 will give you -15. Is that okay? And then -9, negative. So that is going to be positive, right? So -8 plus -9 plus 8. Okay, so -9 plus 8 gives you what? -1. Now negative divided by negative gives you a positive 15. Is that okay? So note, I gave my students an alternative. Now this is y2 over x2, y1 over x1. You could have equally found the slope using, you could equally find the slope using y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. Is that okay? So the difference is that if you have y1 here, this should be what? X1. If you have y2 there, this should be what? X2. So that's the difference. And let's use this to find the slope as well. So your y1 was 8. All right, so 8 is your y1. Your y2 is -7. Okay. And x1 is -8. So that is right there. And then x2 is -9. So 8 minus, so that gives you a positive 15. Okay, and then this is -8 minus, so that gives you a positive 1, and that is your slope. So either way, you either go by this equation or go by that equation, you'll get the answer. The secret is that if you're doing y1, y2 minus y1, when you have y2 there, this must be your x2, and this is y1, and this must be your x1. And when you have y1 here, this must be your x1. When you have y2 here, this must be your x2. All right, so that's the only difference. So thanks, and let me know if you have questions. Okay, thanks for your time.